They left me out of the will, but the judge had a surprise for them all. When I was just 12 years old, my father left my mom and out for another woman. At the time, he was a successful businessman who owned a large chain of gas stations. So when he told us that he was going to marry his co-worker, Cheryl, and that we would always be welcome in their lives, we were shocked, but mostly relieved. But then after they got married, they started acting like we were an inconvenience. They would invite us over for dinner, but only serve us frozen dinners while they ate delicious home-cooked meals. And then, when my birthday came around, they both said that they didn't know that it was even happening. To make things worse, my dad had put Cheryl in charge of his company, and she started treating me like a commoner. When we visited the gas stations, she would yell at me to get out of her way or tell me that I wasn't doing enough. But then, when my 18th birthday came around, everything changed. My mom and I were sitting in the living room one day when my dad walked in with 2 lawyers. He told us that he wanted to give us our inheritance early since we were getting older and needed to start thinking about our futures. We were confused because he had never given us anything before, but we figured that it was better late than never. When we went to the lawyer's office, they gave us the envelopes. One was for me and the other was for my mom. Then they told us that these envelopes were not to be opened until we were 21. We thanked them and left. Fast forward to when I turned 21. As soon as I got the key, I raced home, practically bursting with excitement. I sat down on the couch and opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper with Merry Christmas written on it. On the back of the paper was a list of dates, and next to each date was a name. I was puzzled. I looked over at my mom, and she was crying. Her envelope was empty. I asked her what was going on, and she told me that those names on the list were all the people whom my dad had forgotten to take out of his will. And that meant that instead of getting half of his estate, like we had originally believed, we were now completely disinherited. I couldn't believe that my dad had treated my mom like this. Even though she had been with him through thick and thin, he had just thrown her away like trash. That's when I promised myself that I would make him pay for what he did. It took for long years, but I finally graduated from law school and became an attorney. I knew exactly what I wanted to do first. I called up my dad and told him that I wanted to sue him. He was furious and tried to get me to drop it. But when I wouldn't back down, he hung up the phone and called Cheryl. I heard him yelling at her, saying that I had found out and that she had made a big mistake. I knew that he was regretting his decision, but I wasn't going to let him off easy. I took the case to court. I presented all of the evidence and the judge listened intently. In the end, he ruled in my favor and ordered my dad to give my mom everything that he had promised her. But that wasn't enough for me. I wanted more. I wanted my dad to feel the pain that he had caused us. So when the judge heard my request, he surprised me with an even bigger punishment for my dad. He ordered him to give me $1 million. Then the judge said something that made my blood boil. He told my dad that since he had treated his own flesh and blood so poorly, he could no longer consider himself a member of society and that he should spend the rest of his days in prison. The judge then sentenced my dad to 10 years in prison for fraud and embezzlement. He had used his position at the gas stations to steal money from the company, and he had hidden it in offshore accounts. The judge took away everything he had worked so hard for, and he spent his last years behind bars. Now, my mom and I are very happy. We have a great life, and we don't have to worry about money. I hope that this story can be a warning to other people out there. Never treat your family like this. They are the most important thing in the world. If you enjoyed this emotional revenge story, stay tuned for more. And if you want to send me a message, please use the contact information provided below. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing content.